God, through Jesus, has cancelled the power of sin, why am I still allowing that to rule over me? Question I often ask of people: why am I giving anyone or anything that much power when Jesus has dealt with it all? And if I wanted to give you a title for tonight, it is the power of letting it go. If you're serious about living a resurrection life, act like it. But I have to give you a word of warning. Do you remember in John 5? It's very hard turning things with just one hand. John 5, verse 5 says this. Sorry, verse 1 of chapter 5. Sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for a feast of the Jews. Now there is in Jerusalem, near the sheep gate, a pool, which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here, a great number of disabled people used to lie: the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. And when Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he'd been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" Now, I have a very personal thing. I will never call anyone stupid. Silly, maybe, but never stupid. As a teacher, as a parent, it doesn't come out of my mouth. True? True. Because I think it's a horrible thing. And some of you may have been told things about you that have gone so deep. I see some of the teachers nodding. You've worked with children who've had words spoken over them that have just stayed put. Yeah? But to me, this is as near as you get to, if I can say so very respectfully, a really stupid question. Jesus said, "Do you want to get well?" I tell you, the youngsters today would go, "You think?" Daft question. What did the man say? "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water was stirred. And while I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." Jesus says, "Do you want to get well?" And what he's doing is blaming the reason why he's still unwell. Because that's not actually the question Jesus is asking. Jesus is not saying, "Do you want to be well?" He's saying, "Are you prepared to live with the consequences of health?" Whoa, that's a different question. Think about blind Bartimaeus. When he was healed, his life had been begging. If he's no longer blind, he can't beg. So what's he got to do? Work. Mary Magdalene. Once she was delivered of all of those demons, she'd been a prostitute. Now she's not. She's got to find a moral way to live. And Legion had to look after his family and get dressed. There are consequences to living a resurrection life that say, I am not going to allow that to dictate to me anymore. What have you been handcuffed to? It may well be that you've been abused. And I most certainly am not minimizing that. But if you allow that history to continue to shape you, define you, influence you, and dictate to you, you're still handcuffed. And what am I saying tonight? Let it go. It could be that you have had in your life envy or jealousy. Oh, you never admit to it. No, no, no. But you're envious of someone else's status. And I'm not talking Facebook. You're envious of someone else's profession, of their money, of their lifestyle, of their body shape, of their ministry. And it has kept you, like that guy at the pool, incredibly frustrated. Let it go. It could be that you have taken offense and are waiting for someone else to apologize. Let it go. Walk in grace. Let it go. It may be that you had hopes and dreams for you, your family, those you love, and they've been cruelly dashed. Maybe you even feel that life's pretty pointless and meaningless, really. And you live in what was once described to me, you live life in a cockpit. As long as it's just there, that's where I want to live. Don't expect me to go out there. I'll just live under what I understand and can control. Trouble is, that cockpit is getting smaller and smaller because you are still handcuffed. I could go on. Just because I haven't mentioned the very one thing that you are experiencing, you know what it is. I don't have to say it out loud, you know. Just remember that the power is silent, doesn't make a lot of noise, but it keeps you handcuffed. Except there's one thing. It's just a box. The power's unplugged. It can't do anything to you anymore. So why would you choose to live handcuffed? The incredible thing is that whilst God has brought all of the power of the universe into the act of salvation, you have the right to stop it applied to your life. That's a lot of power, really, isn't it? Why would you use that? That's what I want to do with that. Throw it completely away. I can move. You can move. As long as you realize that it has been robbed of its power, but I now have to live like a resurrected believer. I am no longer going to apologize to myself for things I can't do because I may have had a problem in the past. I'm no longer going to come before God and say, I can't because. If he's asked me to do it, he expects me to do it. Therefore, I will. You're looking at me really sad. Resurrection life means getting rid of the box. Getting shot of the handcuffs and saying, I choose not to let anyone have the power to dictate what God wants me to do. God will dictate what God wants me to do. Not a person, not my past, not a word, not a relationship, nothing. I refuse to allow that level of power to dictate who I now am going to be.